Hello, my name is Dr. K, and my highest excitement is providing you with the tools, the strategies, and the technologies to help you evolve rapidly as conscious leaders in body, mind, and spirit so we can be the change that we've been waiting for. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share this with someone you love, and I will see you in the next video. Hello, this is Dr. Kirkendall and welcome back. Today, the next insight is we're going to be talking about and feeling into the inner compass. Now, just like the journey I've been on for the last couple of years around the world, following my own internal compass, following my own heart, I didn't know it was going to lead me to right here, sitting with you in this beautiful place. Actually, I had a lot of fear when I first started out. I was really fearful. And what I did is what I did with you in this last video, where I really committed to being of total connection to that internal guidance of I really want to trust and go where it feels really exciting. You know, what I realized is there's been 108 billion people that have lived and died on this planet, and that every single day, statistically, there's 150,000 people that die on planet Earth. 150,000 people every day. Wrap your head around that. You know, give or take. It changes every day, obviously. But I realized, children are being born into slavery and prostitution, and people are being born with terrible genetic disorders or diseases. And I didn't have that. And I realized that my life is actually quite insignificant on a global scale, even of the ones of you that may be patients that are watching this, or clients, or maybe you've never met me and you found out that I passed on, just like Robin Williams or Chris Farley. You're sad for a moment, but you move on. Life moves on. And you say, pass the potatoes at dinner time. And life keeps going. And so that was kind of intense for me to realize at first that I was insignificant. But in the insignificance of your individual life, in the insignificance of my individual life, I realized, if I don't have to really do anything because my life is insignificant, I can create anything. I can do anything. If all of these people are going through these experiences in life, why don't I experiment with this internal compass? And so the internal compass on this journey, on this path, that brought me sitting here with you, I didn't know it was going to bring me here. I kept moving to what felt good and what felt light. Instead of trying with the mind to try to get something or create something or make something happen or sell something, I don't want anything from you. I don't need anything from you. I'm whole and complete. If this whole video series was super lame and nobody gets anything out of it, I'm fine with that, because I know really there's no way that's going to happen, because I've done enough work to know that this is really some secret sauce. This really is, and it's no secret, it's been here all along. There's no new or original ideas. This is just what I've been kind of creating in my own life. So that inner compass is your own feeling of, wow, this feels really good. This actually lights me up. I get excited when I do this. I get excited when I do art or when I dance. I'm choosing to move in this direction and realize this is a real thing. Have you ever had some event in your life where you knew that you shouldn't have called an ex boy or girl relationship, and you called them anyway, and then you ended up with them for 3 years longer, and you're like, shoot, why did I do that? Or, man, I knew I should have gone left back there, but I went right. And when I went right, we ran into the storm and the car got, caught. Or you may have said, this was something that happened with my mother before she passed away. She raced back home, and she said, I just knew that a pipe had broken in a neighbor's house. And so she called the neighbor, and sure enough, she was able to let her know. Her intuition led her there, is the point. And there's been moments where you felt, oh man, I should have trusted that thing. Well, that little thing that society has made so tiny, like, oh, this is the real world. The seen world is the real world. But actually, that deep little voice that you hear, not the one that's like, you're fat, you should work out because you're fat, or, stop smoking cigarettes, you're a loser, you've been doing this forever. Like, that's your ego. The inner voice I'm talking about is, man, it would feel really light and expansive to go on a yoga retreat. It would feel really light and expansive to start working on healing up my inner heart, my being. It would feel light and expansive to go sit under a tree. It would feel light and expansive to write a book versus to study for an engineering career that you don't want really, but would make your parents happy. And so really listen into in your life where you've actually known and you didn't act. And maybe you have some great examples of where you feel a little more intuitive, which really means you're just more aware of your intuitional skills. Everybody is intuitive. Everybody has this. And we're going to see this evolve more and more. It's like the 5-minute mile? It was not possible. And then somebody run the 5-minute mile and everybody's like, oh, and then everybody started running the 5-minute or 4-minute or whatever it is mile. It was like, wow, it's now possible. And because of the awareness of that, a lot of new things open up. So this tiny little thing is something that's actually able to help you move your life. This is how I got to where I'm at. It's very simple. It's a process of listening. So one of the things is to really get in connection with this. And the first step is to do less, which is a good thing. I'm not going to have you do anything or write anything down, but I'm saying go out into nature, go sit by a beach, go sit by a river, whatever lights you up. You'll see me in this video series in the mountains, we'll be under trees and we'll be by a beach. It just is what feels the best. It feels fun. And so I'm having fun actually doing this and sitting with you. So you got to turn down the nature, turn down all the noise and get into some place that's quieter. And so for me, that's nature where there's not a bunch of people. It's off the beaten path. That's my favorite. But it could be just for you on your couch. Maybe that just feels a hell of a lot better than sitting at your work and not liking it. And pull out that compass, right? And when you have a compass, if you put a magnet near it, it starts to go crazy. Well, that's the interference for that compass. Well, the interference for the internal compass is, oh man, ringing of the phone and Twitter and Facebook and messaging and emails and things to do is quiet that stuff down a little bit. Get quiet. Look at those things that are distractions and addictions and realize, don't start to try to change distractions and addictions right now. Just try to quiet them a little bit. But realize distractions like being on the phone constantly or looking at social media constantly is like, did they like me? Did they approve of me? How many people have shared? Why didn't Jenny share? This is this weird consciousness sickness that humanity has always had, but now we're seeing it really amplify because there's so much more stress than ever before. So we have to reduce and take away, not add and add and add. So step one is getting quiet. And then it's start to take small explorations, like if you have an idea that, wow, does it feel better to eat peanut butter or does it feel better to eat almond butter? And I'm not talking about from the ego, like which one feels lighter? Which one feels like your body expands on? Does it feel better to go down to the beach today or is it better to go crunch these papers? And all these numbers you have to do for work. And I'm not saying be lazy in your work or be lazy in your job, but we really have to stop and take a hard break in your life right now. Because you have to realize everything in your life is because it's there from your creation. You've either allowed it, you've either brought it in, and you didn't realize the power that you have, that we all have as humans awakening to our creation power. We're amazing creators. My experience of this grass is a different color than yours because of the cones in my eyes. You see it a different color. I see it a little different because I'm a little bit colorblind. But I'm creating the color of the grass just by my cones, my rods and my cones, right? So we have to be aware that we are the receptacle that is looking through our own physical bodies at life. We're looking at life around us. And we can either create that it's beautiful and that it's wonderful and that it's fantastic, or we can create that it's difficult, that it's hard, that nothing ever works out. And trust me, I have people like that that I'm very close to that live in very heavy world with these old stories and people that live in the light. So today, for a very simple exercise, I want you to start to play with this concept of the inner compass. Maybe go on a drive in the country if you're able to do that. Maybe get on a subway and just have nowhere to go. Don't carry anything. Maybe just have your cell phone and a credit card and just go where it feels exciting. Maybe you see a beautiful man or woman and you just stop and talk to them. You're not trying to get a relationship or a phone number. It feels light to talk to them. It feels fun. Maybe you see an old woman crossing the street and you feel an intuitive hit like, I should help her. When you go in that direction, something will really open up. And I could sit here and tell you 1,000 examples over and over and over again. But I will say one. When I was in Iceland, I went from Guatemala to Iceland, which is quite a shock to the nervous system because they're incredibly different countries, very different in the level of expense. One thing is, $1 in Guatemala and it's $300 in Iceland. The sun goes down early in Guatemala, and in Iceland, it's, full sun at midnight and all the way through the summertime. But I remember being really called to go there in my inner compass. I'd get quiet and say, go, go. And I'm like, well, this doesn't make sense. Go. So I arrived. And by the way, when I got there, the inner compass took me there, but the whole thing fell apart. I thought I was going there to co-create an event and all these things. And what I thought was the falling apart was actually the emerging of something new. And I was really scary, but that was a really powerful insight. And I remember after realizing that this whole thing wasn't going to work out quite the way I thought, it actually opened up to something amazing because I had moved in the direction of expansion. Yes, the universe is always going to send you stuff and there's always going to be a little rock in your shoe. But maybe taking that rock out of your shoe, just that moment is long enough for you to stop and meet your soulmate or meet somebody that you can really share some point of wisdom or do something wonderful for. So here I am, I'm like, okay, I'm in Iceland. This whole thing looks terrible, but I'm going to trust my inner compass. That was my commitment, like we did a moment ago. We committed to that. So I recommitted to that in my life. And I walked into the very last gas station because this bus had dropped me off and there's no taxis, there's no cars. I was in the middle of nowhere and I was going to have to hike for 40 miles with a 60-pound backpack. I wasn't really set up for that. I didn't have any food. I mean, I had just arrived. I was really shocked from the change in time and temperature. And so I was like, okay, I know that my heart brought me here, so I'm going to trust this again. I'm going to expand. And even though I could have been like, oh, this is tough. And I walked into the very last gas station along the path, and then it was going to be a 40-mile stretch. And I walked in there, and I heard a guy go, Kieran. And I said, Armand? And I ran into a guy that I had met in a small, crazy place called, it's in Florida. And he goes, what do you need? I had met him 3 years before. And I said, I hadn't seen him since. I didn't even know he lived in Iceland. He said, what do you need, man? I said, man, I need a car. I'm gonna have to walk 40 miles. And he's like, well, there's no cars here. You can't rent cars. And I was like, he goes, take my Audi. I own a chain of these, gas stations. And I want you to take my Audi, have fun. And at the end of the evening, around 12 or 1, whatever it was, pick me up and we'll celebrate. You're here in Iceland. Welcome to my country. And I realized, like, holy crap, this is literally direct feedback. And I've got endless stories like this. But the reason I'm telling the stories about the compass, the reason I'm telling you the stories about what's possible is because I really know more than anything that if people begin to live more and more like this, that a really ancient wisdom can emerge. And really peace, joy. Like a lot of the shamans in different indigenous cultures, everything from the Quechua to the Achuar and the Shipibo and the Zapotecs and all these different cultures, if you look at the older cultures, the way a lot of the shamans actually move through the forest and through the jungle is by intuition. They don't have a map. They don't have a physical compass. They feel it. The way they know to work with plants, the way they discovered cacao, and even the ancient Chinese, they say, how'd you discover this? And they say, well, the plants told us. And that was because we were listening back then. We could hear. And now all we hear is, instant notifications and messages and tons of advertising. And we wonder why we're fat and we're sick and we're literally nearly dead. And that's why I left my practice, was because of you. So thank you. Meaning, I saw a lot of people that were really struggling, and I myself, I was hearing to go and I didn't listen, and it kept getting louder, and the universe keeps giving me more like, okay, buddy, you sure you want to hang on? Let's flood your office, which is what happened. Finally, I had a shoulder surgery. I had a freak accident, and my subscapularis muscle literally got ripped off the bone, and I was forced out of practice. And that was really in that moment, I was like, I think something, maybe myself or something, the University of Life is nudging me and saying, go, you got to do this. So I decided to create it as, okay, maybe stuff happens. There's that philosophy, that theory. Or maybe that this is the University of Life, like we're talking about in the previous video. Just maybe, if I made it as though it's a University of Life, this is a lesson. What if I created it as, I don't want to go the same direction. I'm going to follow that compass again. I'm going to follow that heart. And so I did that, and now I'm here sitting with you. That's all I know. That's all I know. Because what I've committed to is I don't know. And what's gotten humanity in so much trouble is that we know all the time. We think we know. So, in short, and wrapping up, you have a compass. You don't need to go buy anything. You don't need any equipment. You don't need to write anything down. What I want you to experiment with today is what feels more light. Maybe you have to go to work. Maybe you have to go pick your kids up afterwards. Whatever that is. But what feels lighter? Do I want to take the stairs? Do I want to, parachute to work? Do I want to, really, like, which direction do I want to go? Do I want to take the long scenic route, or I want to take the direct gotta get it done route? Like, it doesn't matter which one you take. It's what feels best to you. And in what feels best to you, I really do believe that that compass is working. I have faith in that. I really have a knowing and a trust, because I've seen this work in hundreds and hundreds of other people that I've shared this with. Because this is where my compass took me to, is sharing this with you. This is new for me. Before, it was sharing neurology and functional medicine, all the healing modality, but I realized we had to go deeper and talk about this and dust that compass off that's in there, get the dirt off that thing, pull it out and say, wow, this is ancient wisdom. We can really maybe get somewhere listening to our hearts. So I love you. I look forward to speaking to you in the next video. And I really, not just today, but in your life, really take a moment to stop and listen to that compass. Really. And daily, just make this commitment. You've already made the commitment that we did a moment before around really choosing to go in this direction of your heart, but really make the commitment now to even go in the direction and say, I'm going to really be aware that I have a guidance system. There's birds that fly all over this earth due to some types of cells in their visual system that is based on magnetic north. Really amazing. A lot of mammals work that way, and a lot of the sea, and there's a lot more going on in the unseen realm than we realize, and you're part of that, my friends. And I hope that is a blessing somehow today. Keep following, keep committing, keep following that compass, and it will take you to lighter and lighter things. And even when that tough stuff shows up, just love it. Just say, I love it. It's okay. This is the emergence of something new. Something new's coming out, because something I thought was going to work out is not working out. It's falling apart. It's okay. I can love that. And now I'm moving in this new direction. If this video was inspiring and empowering, make sure you share it with someone you love. Like, subscribe, and click the bell so you don't miss a single thing. And I will see you in the next video.